Cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of
G'day and welcome back to the channel Ginger Ninja's Movie Reviews. I am the Ginger Ninja and these of course are my movie reviews, but not just any movie reviews, these are my Franchise Friday movie reviews. Now if you're new to my channel, first off thank you very much for tuning in, dropping by and checking it out, and if you could please do give this video a thumbs up, be much appreciated, and of course subscribing to my channel for future content is definitely appreciated. Now we made it past the fourth one, which was a very divisive film. And now we're on to the fifth one, Hellraiser Inferno. Now, I know a lot of people have their own opinions on this film, and that's all well and good. But we're going to have a look at this film and, see what's what in it. Anyway, look, before I get into that, I do want to say a big thank you to all my new and existing subscribers. Like I said, thank you so much for week in, week out, tuning in, listening to me ramble on about these movies. Good or bad, yeah, that's what we're here to find out. So thank you. Anyway, back to the movie. And Hellraiser Inferno came out in 2000 and was directed by Scott Derrickson, which I had no idea he directed this film until I went back and rewatched it and I saw his name pop up in the credits and I'm like, no way. But yes way. Anyway, the film stars Craigsheffer, Nicholasturturro, jamesremar, and dougbradley. Straight off, that's a great cast. So why is this film so widely disregarded? Well, the plot is about a shady police detective who becomes embroiled in a strange world of murder, sadism and madness after being assigned a murder investigation against a madman known only as the Engineer. Straight up, that sounds awesome, right? It sounds intriguing, it grabs you. It's like, okay, who is this Engineer? We obviously know it's Pinhead, who is now sitting next to me. I forgot I had this. Got it for Halloween last year. Anyway, it's pretty cheap shit, but anyway, hey, works with the franchise, right? Especially with what we're getting into. Anyway, this is a big change for the franchise. It's a huge change of pace. The Hellraiser series has traditionally been, a supernatural horror gore fest, like skinless bodies, chains ripping people apart. It's definitely, this one, it blends the detective and police tropes with the unsettling horror that we've come to know and love with the franchise. The way this follows Detective Joseph Thorne, who's played by Craigsheffer, it's more involved in the psychological horror aspect of it. It is a police procedural as well, because it has those aspects of it, and that's what makes this an interesting addition to the Hellraiser series. The fact that it focuses on more psychological horror as opposed to the traditional gore and supernatural that we've come to know and love. But look, that's not to say it doesn't hold back when it comes to the gore and special effects. But enough about that. Let's dive into this. Okay, so let's have a look at the cast. And Craigsheffer delivers a fairly strong performance as the morally bankrupt detective. His portrayal of Thorne's unraveling sanity and growing desperation is quite compelling through the film. And it does anchor the film's more surreal elements with that police procedural that I mentioned. He does manage to convey a complex character who is both detestable but also you pity him as well, and it does add a bit of depth to the story. His character is very reminiscent of Harvey Keitel's Bad Lieutenant character, but not as extreme, but he is getting there. Dougbradley, what can you say? He returns as the iconic Pinhead, though his screen time is more limited compared to earlier films. but when he does appear, his presence is as menacing and memorable as ever, and it reinforces his character's chilling legacy. Now, the supporting cast, including nicholasturturro as Thorne's partner Tony, and jamesremar as Dr. Paul Gregory, they do add layers to the narrative, but also feel somewhat underdeveloped and kind of serve as more of plot devices to advance Thorne's story, which is unfortunate for me because I really enjoyed these actors and seeing them in these roles, and they could have done so much more, particularly jamesremar. And look, that is my main issue with this movie. The cast is fantastic, but I would have liked to have seen their characters been developed more. Now, the directing and the writing, and like I mentioned, Scott Derrickson, who later on gained fame with films like Sinister, which is a fantastic film, and Doctor Strange, which, again, great film. Inferno showcases his early talent for creating atmospheric and psychologically intense narratives. Though not as intense as Sinister, it's getting there. The film style is markedly different from its predecessors, leaning heavily into the psychological thriller genre as opposed to supernatural horror. It has those elements in it, which is quite abundant, but Derrickson uses a variety of visual and auditory cues to kind of create a disorientating and unsettling experience for the audience. And it kind of mirrors Thorne's own spiraling mental state. Now, it is the attempt to blend horror with a detective mystery, which works on one level. Again, attempting to take this franchise to a new place, which it hadn't before. But unfortunately, the pacing suffers due to this, and it's this dual focus with the narrative feeling somewhat disjointed at times. It's dream sequences and hallucinations kind of blur the line between fantasy and reality, and it can be intriguing, but it can also be confusing, which really took me out of the film. The really slow build-up to the climax, it may actually test the patience of viewers looking for, I don't want to say a payoff, but a somewhat decent or worthwhile payoff. And because you kind of see the twist coming a mile away, you do kind of feel disappointed with the ending. Now on to the effects. And while the film has fewer practical effects and less elaborate makeup than earlier installments, the special effects that are present are effective in creating a disturbing and nightmarish world. There are scenes in this which really, they straddle the line between pleasure and pain, which is what this movie is all about, what the Hellraiser franchise is about. There is one scene with the twins putting their hands into craigsheffer under his skin, in his chest, and the effects in that are fantastic. And speaking of the twins, the cenobites, there are less of them in this one. In fact, there are the twins, Pinhead, of course, and Torso. That's a freaky one as well. So, yeah. But look, while there are less of them, and they're not as prominently featured, the designs are still fantastic, and the intricate detail that's in these is what the series is known for. And the design of these cenobites, like I said, that feature in this film, it's somewhat creepier than previous films, especially 3. And I mentioned this with 3, the cenobites that were featured in 3. I don't know, they lack that terror. They were just kind of, in a way, goofy, but not goofy. These ones, the twins in particular, like, they're, creepy as. So, and look, it does work within this film and what this film's about. I would have liked to have seen more of these ones in previous ones, and I definitely appreciate these twins more than the twins in Hellraiser Bloodline. The fact that there was very minimal CGI in this one is also a good thing as well. The gore effects that you do see, the practical effects, particularly when it comes to the flaying of the back on the ice cream driver, I can't think of his name, look great. So those physical effects are still top notch. Now on to rewatchability, and look, to be honest, this is a real tough one, as this is such a different film from the first four. If you look at the first four films, particularly the fourth film, that shows you the start of how it all started, the lament configuration, but then it takes it to the end of it and shows you the destruction of the lament configuration. Every other story in this franchise is between that beginning and that end. So these are all side stories, no matter which way you look at it. Obviously, they all feature Pinhead. He is the main protagonist through all of them. But look, does that make it worth rewatching? Not really. This film, in particular the first 2/3 of the film, is intriguing. But it's too easy to lose interest in that third act. You know what's coming, you know the twist, and it just doesn't really hold your interest. So would I rewatch this? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. So, final thoughts. And look, Hellraiser Inferno is an interesting experiment within the franchise, offering a different flavour of horror. It's a blend of detective movie and psychological thriller with a sprinkle of supernatural terror. And look, while it may not appeal to or satisfy purists looking for visceral horror that was in the earlier films, it certainly brings a new feel, an intriguing story to a classic horror legend. I mean, really, what more could we ask? Apart from a decent third act. So, anyway, overall for a score, I would give Hellraiser Inferno a 6 out of 10. There you have it, my review of Hellraiser Inferno. Have you seen this film? What did you think of it? I'm really keen to know, because I know a lot of people steer clear of the sequels to Hellraiser. A lot of people since the third one have not been fans of them. Like I said, you know my thoughts on the third one. The fourth one, it's okay. This one, it's okay. Will these ones get worse, better? I'm leaning towards worse, but we'll see. I want to go in with an open mind and check them out. Like I said, this one does have some good elements to it. Unfortunately, it just not enough. But anyway, I want to hear what you think of it. Let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please do hit that thumbs up button. It'd be much appreciated. And of course, subscribe to my channel so that way you are notified every time I do release a new review. Not only do I have my Franchise Fridays, but I've also got my Trashy Tuesdays and my 60-second reviews. They're a lot of fun. I've got some good ones of those coming up. So keep an eye on that. But I've also got a couple of live streams that I am planning. I would have just had one, I believe, depending on when this one's, I don't know, I'm recording this one and then I release it. So you know what it's like anyway. I'm not going to blather on, but thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.